finished up our final round of Checkride practice. Went out with Tommy, the CFI, and we actually got a break. I mean, it looked like it was going to rain all day, and it's not. It's actually still pretty nice outside. Pretty cloudy, but it's nice. We had to stay at like 2,000 feet to do stuff. But I wanted to do some power-on stalls just to feel them again, because I don't do them when I'm by myself. I can do power-offs and other things like that. We pulled power and found a field to try to land in. Did my best on that. He's kind of really suggesting that I pick that field soon and spiral down to it, which is smart. I am, we'll see what happens tomorrow, because I don't feel like I've ever really succeeded at that. Tried some forward slips to not quite to a landing, but we did that. We did a short field landing that went pretty well. And we did a power off 180 to a landing, which he seemed to think we needed to do that to a point, and I'm going to go back and look that up in the ACS, because I'm hoping you don't, or at least I'm hoping you get some good leeway there, because I kept coming up a little short, which doesn't mean turn it earlier and come in higher and then deal with being high, which all makes sense. That's all really smart to do. It's just tough to do when you're kind of at best glide and you're trying to keep the plane going like that. You got no power to deal with. You're at idle. So interesting stuff. We're going to get up tomorrow morning, go out to the airfield, 8 o'clock in the morning. We may have to fly. He may have to fly us there IFR. In fact, I might get a few minutes of actual IFR to get over to Tallulah, Vicksburg, and then we will meet Jimmy, and hopefully it all goes as planned. This is the fourth time's a charm if we can pull it off. Meanwhile, I'm going back to the house and get busy on just reworking my flight plan. Jimmy wants us to flight plan from Vicksburg to Tallulah up to Memphis, so we'll be doing that. And we will keep studying tonight, maybe watch a little of the Cowboy game, try to get some sleep, and get up and head out to the airport, and I'll probably talk to you on the way out there. So thanks for tagging along, and we'll see how this goes. Hopefully this time tomorrow I'm a private pilot. Today may be the day. We are coming out to the Raymond Airport, meet with Tommy. We are going to get in the airplane, fly over to Tallulah, which is Tango Victor Romeo, and meet up with Jimmy, the DPE, and see if we can get the Checkride done. The only real concern is right now it's overcast here. We'll see in a minute how high these clouds are, but Tommy may have to take us out IFR. We might get a little actual cloud flying as opposed to just hood flying. And then once we get over there, everything is supposed to burn off, and we're supposed to have pretty good days. A little threat of storms and rain, throughout the area, but we won't be under any kind of SIGMETs or AirMETs by the time we're planning this flight at about 1 o'clock this afternoon. And so hopefully all that works pretty well. We will keep up hope. So anyway, I'll let you know how it goes. Hopefully by the end of this day I'm a private pilot. It's been fantastic. See you soon. All right, we are back. I do it every time. All right. So we are back at, where are we? Raymond. Leaving the flight school now, 5 o'clock. So I got up this morning, I think at 6 or 6:30. Got out here at 9 o'clock, and we went over to Tallulah. Got started at 10 o'clock. 7 hours later, I land back at Raymond, and I am a private pilot. I passed my check ride. It was fun sometimes. It was challenging sometimes. I'm going to go back and kind of write out a complete debrief of it. I'm kind of brain dead right now. I will say right now, for the record, I am super excited to be driving down this road and not listening to that Jason Shepard audiobook for the first time in about 6 months. That's fantastic. studying than I can really remember even doing in college, and a lot of trying to memorize things, trying to learn things, trying to get them cemented and stuck in there. And the oral portion of it was, I think it went pretty well. It's hard to say. It certainly didn't go perfectly. There were a couple times where I said, I don't know the answer to this. There were a couple times where I said, I would guess the answer is this, and I know that that's kind of frowned upon, but my DPE would kind of take that for what it was. He would say, well, you're right, you're thinking that through, right? So, there's a certain amount of, just the way personalities are going to go or whatever. We got out on the flight itself, and I'd say it all went pretty well. I continue to have a challenge with picking a good field and trying to land in it and trying to simulate landing in it. That was interesting. Slow flight, under the hood, orthogonals, all that went pretty well. The most interesting thing, probably the thing I was most nervous about, was he wanted to do a steep turn in a turn. Not steep turn. He wanted to do a power on stall in a bank, right? So set up for a bank and then do your power on stall. And we had never, ever, ever practiced that. The first time I've ever done that was on this Checkride this afternoon. And I told him that, and so I think he was aware that it could get interesting. But really what he was looking for on it was that I recovered from the stall without spinning the plane, without just going nuts. And so we were way off heading. The ACS says you have to maintain the bank angle, not necessarily maintain the heading, because you're going to turn. So he said, one of the things that seemed to happen was I did two things, right? So I established the turn and then established the pitch up in order to try to stall the plane while you're in full power. So I gained some altitude and had a lot of speed going into that turn, and really probably went over 10 degrees, in maintaining that turn. But regardless, it was a long climbing turn by the time I stalled the plane. Stalled it, it fell out pretty hard to the right, left rudder. Probably put some aileron in. Who knows if that helped or not? But we steadied it out. Got positive rate, pulled it back in, and he was happy with that. So. Final thing was probably the landings. We practiced short field landings with a lot of, discussion, but Tommy, my CFI, would always pick a point and say, that's the point that you need to put it down on. Usually he would say the numbers. I would say the touchdown zone, because it's just easier. And I also really felt like you needed to come in at 50 feet, clear an obstacle and come in and put it down on the touchdown zone. So if the numbers were at 50 feet, you would do that. And I practiced that a lot. I practiced that over at Tallulah. And that's basically not what we did. The DPE, Jimmy, he at first didn't want to tell me where to put the plane. He said, well, the runway starts right there. I said, well, I guess that means I'm supposed to put it down on the pavement where the runway starts, or within 200 feet, which is what the ACS says. And we went down there, and I was coming in pretty steep to try to make that happen. I probably would have ended up not rounding out prior to the runway, but at the runway threshold, and hopefully putting it down within 200 feet. Would have been dicey. For some reason, he decided that was the moment for a go-around, which I was very pleased with. So he said, go around. We did a go-around, executed that okay, dropped my first notch of flaps, positive rate, climb out of BX. Probably VY. Come back around again. He said, okay, here's what I'll say. The runway is the length of the beginning of the runway and the first taxiway, which, I don't know, was 5 stripes or something, so was that 1,000 feet? But that, he said, that's what it is. I said, okay, well, we can try for that. So established better, got more stabilized, came down. Think about your short field landings in a Cessna like that. Ours is a 172 Sierra. So the POH says 61 knots is what you're gonna is your final approach speed. So trying to slow it way down, keep it kind of almost at a slow flight, give it a little power to if you get on the back end of it, And then I put that down, and it was actually, pretty smooth. Put it down, and put it brakes hard. Didn't lock up the wheels, but did do the braking. A little what do you call it? Aerodynamic braking. And we stopped before that taxiway, and I was able to turn off that taxiway. He said, "Go to the ramp." And I've watched enough videos and seen enough guys talking about the Checkride to know that go to the ramp means that you're a pilot. You are, as long as you park the plane and don't hit anything. He never stopped. He never stopped the Checkride. So, and I was getting it. So we did a little debrief. He talked me through some of those things that I just talked about. A little bit of stuff about soft field. When you go to taxi for your soft field, remember that you want to taxi with weight off the nose wheel. I brought it back as soon as I had power on the runway, but I actually didn't taxi well with the yoke up in my gut like it should have been. So he gave me notes on that. He said, depending on the conditions of the grass that you were on, you probably would have realized you needed to do that on the grass. But anyway, great experience. I'm very glad that I passed. It wouldn't have been as much fun not to pass it. A lot of studying. I'm going to do a video here on all of the different ground schools and Checkride schools and videos and things that I watched, and really try to give you a sense of what my favorites are. What my favorites are for different reasons. There are a couple. If you're willing to spend the money on it, there's reasons to do Sporties. There's reasons to do King. There's reasons to do Pilot Institute. A lot of it's really good stuff, but some of them were actually kind of stronger for different reasons. So I'll put that video up, see what kind of pictures I've got for this one. I think we got a little more footage from practice last weekend. I might toss that into this one, but if you're interested, if you watched, thanks for watching. Feel free to comment.